class like?
Like, you do not need to go out every day.
College is pretty hard.
Just to get involved in class.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's College It. I'm Lilia, a junior in high school and the co-founder of Let's College It, where we take you along to 2,000 colleges and bring you the best perspective and the best advice from all around the world so that you can make your own vision and perspective of the world. So today we have very, very impressive people, one of which is going to UPenn University. Congratulations, Isaiah. That's such an amazing achievement. And we also have Alexi here from the previous podcast, who is attending University of Pittsburgh, and again is an amazing student and person overall. He also tutors Japanese, which is amazing. But I just wanted to get started with my questions here, Isaiah. You are the symbol of amazing. You have done so many amazing things throughout your high school career. So I wanted to ask you a little bit. Can you share a pivotal moment throughout your high school career that really has shaped who you are and what you were able to reflect on the application?
Sure. A big thing that I highlighted this in my application was in a pivotal moment for me. In sophomore year, one of my teachers, her name is Miss Woods. I hope she's okay with me name dropping her. I was doing a bake sale for St. Jude, and I was just doing that out of my own, like I just wanted to. And she came up to me after I had asked her if she wanted to buy something. She was like, I don't want to buy anything because she didn't want to buy anything at that point, but she was like, I think you should do this club called Future Problem Solvers because you have this natural tendency to want to do things to serve other people. And she told me that, and I joined the club, and I was like, I didn't even realize that this is something that I had such a motivation to do. But once I joined the club, it was like, yes, this is exactly like how my brain works. I care about this so much, and this is such like a passionate thing for me. And that it really shaped my the next 3 years of high school for me, and really I focused on that a lot in my college application as well.
Wow. And what do you think this club has done for you in terms of, you said that it shaped you, right? So what aspect in shaping you did it have?
Really, more than anything, it taught me about two words that I like to use all the time: agency and autonomy. The fact that you have the power to make a difference on your own. You don't need, it's nice to have other people helping you, of course, but you don't need to depend on the world to help you. You can depend on yourself. Everyone can depend on everyone in the world to help the world.
I
And
love that.
that was a lesson that Future Problem Solvers taught me.
Wow. So you said agency and autonomy, right?
hmm
Very powerful words when, especially when brought together. And again, in this college application that led you to University of Pennsylvania, what were some of the really most challenging aspects of the college application process? I mean, it's really hard and long, and I'm about to get into it. So I'm wondering, what were some challenges that you had, and how did you really navigate through them?
Really, the hardest part for me was figuring out how to write the personal statement. Because by the time I got to the beginning of my senior year, your resume is basically already complete. It's very hard to add anything at that point to your resume for your college apps. Really the bulk of the hard work for me was the Common App essay, and it took me 3 months to decide what I wanted to write my Common App essay on because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to go about it. People told me that you shouldn't look up examples. Don't look up examples. It'll taint your perspective of what you actually want to write about. So I didn't look at examples, and I thought it was like another opportunity for you to brag about yourself. When I finally decided to cheat and look at another example, I was going totally the wrong direction with it. So I after reading one, I was like, okay, so this is a piece of creative writing. This is a piece of anecdotal creative writing that you are sharing a story about yourself. You are sharing part of your personality. And looking back, after I figured that out, it was such a breeze to write that thing, and it was so fun too. It was like one of the most fun things that I've ever written, and that's really what it's supposed to be. If you don't have fun when you're writing your Common App essay, I mean, that's really what they're looking for. They're looking for you to have fun.
Right. And I also started mine a couple of days ago, and I agree with you. When you're really authentic
Mhm.
about your topic and it's something that really resonates with you, it comes so much easier and faster because I noticed that in myself as well. And maybe if you don't mind sharing or giving a general idea of what you wrote about, what was your kind of theme, overarching theme in your application?
Sure. I actually went a very different structural way about it. I didn't have an intro. I
Mm.
had three different stories that were just very, very high imagery, just snapshots of parts of my life. The first one I talked about what was the first one? The first one I talked about was theater and how theater is such an important part of my life and like what it feels like to be on the stage, how much I enjoy it. And then immediately, quick switch to community service, why I care so much about community service. And then quick switch to the outdoors, the environment and nature, how I care about that so much. And then at the very end, I wrapped it all up and I was like, this is a summary of this is all of these things have helped me realize who I am. And although I don't have maybe a trauma dump experience to write about for my Common App essay, I think these are very important for me to talk about because this is who I am.
Right, I love that. And again, as you said, it's not always maybe a trauma dump that is going to get you into those schools. It's kind of really sharing your authentic self and who made you who you are. And I also wanted to talk about the fact that you're going to the Wharton School of Business, right? And the Wharton School of Business actually really values intellectual, really curiosity and academic rigor. So how did you really showcase that during your application and really highlight your interests during high school?
In terms of the academic rigor, I largely left that to the numbers. I just let them see my transcript and see my test scores, and I just left it at that. In terms of academic interests, I really highlighted across multiple of my supplemental essays, my proclivity towards entrepreneurship and how I've like there's been a few different times in my life throughout my 12 years of school that I've just been like, hey, I want to start this project. I want to do something entrepreneurial, and how like that has like led me to realize I want to do business because it's such a natural thing for my brain to do, right? And then even after that, I highlighted how engineering and how computer science and problem solving is an avenue that I took and how that would like help me have an outlet for using the entrepreneurship. And I also I decided to do that because Penn values interdisciplinary education, and I wanted to give them a hey, I do this, I do interdisciplinary education, and I wanted to give them a little bit of a bit of information there.
And I love the fact that you also kind of looked into business, but also did engineering and other things around it. It's very like business doesn't always have to come from the most, I guess, business ways of life. It can come from any type of topic. And I also wanted to share that Alexi here has his own business in tutoring, right? You tutor Alexi.
Yes, I do.
So it's kind of funny. And your major is microbiology, right?
Yes, I'm double majoring in microbiology and Japanese language and literature.
So it's really interesting how you started your own business, but coming from such a different major and topic. So it's again, it kind of highlights the fact that business isn't always coming from a certain major. You don't have to be a business major or have business interests in high school to create a business and be entrepreneurial, which I love that you both highlighted.
Absolutely. Actually, if you don't mind, one of the reasons that I took business was like I was so comfortable taking business as a route in college. I have so many different interests that I've tried to like see myself studying in college. Like I'm interested in theater, I'm interested in music, I'm interested in computer science, and I was like, what do I want to study in college? What should I do with all of these different interests? And like, do I see myself doing every one of these for the rest of my life? I can't do all of them, right? So business was a really easy choice for me to make because business is such a wide, like you can do anything with business. You can do whatever you want. And it was really freeing to know that I was going to be studying business because I don't have to decide what I want to do right now. I can explore in college what exact direction I want to take with it. And business, I mean, come on, Wharton School of Business, that's like a great starting point to launch pad you wherever else you want to go. So it was a really easy choice for me to make there.
It definitely is a really good starting point. And business, again, as you said, is it's a very good starting point to whatever you want to do as well. It kind of opens doors everywhere. And I also wanted to talk to you a little bit more, I guess, vulnerably. A lot of students really struggle with self-doubt and some even like imposter syndrome when applying to college and these types of school. Did you really kind of experience something similar or moments that you doubted what you were doing and really applying to these schools?
I definitely did. My school, there's not too many alumni that I'm aware of that aim to go to Ivy League schools. Like the last person that I'm even aware of going that high is someone 8 years ago went to, I think, U Chicago, which I mean, that was long enough ago that I wouldn't have even known this person. So it was hard for me to compare myself to other people in my area that wanted to do things that were similar to me because I mean all of my friends were like they're like applying to state schools I live in Illinois, so they were applying to the University of Illinois, etc. And they were like, you can get into Penn, you can get into Penn. And I'm like, I mean, sure, you're saying that, but at the same time, everyone else is going to the University of Illinois. Everyone else is going to state schools. No one is even trying to go to these other schools. I don't even have anyone to compare myself to. And it was really hard. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome because I am aware that I have a pretty good idea of like what's the word for it? I have self-efficacy. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think I have a pretty good self-efficacy. I'm very aware of my abilities, but not having someone to compare yourself to um, in your area is it's hard. It's hard to put yourself up there when there's no idea to latch onto around that.
I mean, yeah, especially around the idea that college really doesn't have a definite set of skills where you're going to get into the school with doing this and this and this, or this school with this and this and this, because they're looking for such diverse people every single year. So it would be really hard to compare yourself to anyone. And how did you really overcome this imposter syndrome and really harsh time?
I think it was a combination of me sort of getting over it. And also there was a lot of I had a lot of support from my peers, from my teachers, from my parents. They were like, if anyone is going to get into Penn, it is going to be you because you have all of these things, you're doing everything right, like everything's like there's not really much else there wasn't too much else I could have done given my circumstances if I wanted to get into Penn. And they really helped they gave me a lot of confidence. Like you are what they're looking for. If you don't get in, you just didn't get lucky. And that's really what it is for a lot of people. It's just like you might have, and this goes for so many people that apply to Ivy Leagues. Almost everyone that applies to Ivy Leagues is like top tier. And if you don't get in, it's not a reflection of you not being good enough. It's a reflection of you not getting lucky because that they can only Penn this year only accepted like 5% of all of the applicant pool, which if you're not one of those 5%, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that you didn't get lucky, really. That's what I think anyway.
Mm. And following this moment of, imposter syndrome and the support from your family, how did you feel when you did get accepted and when you saw the acceptance letter?
Oh, I I recorded my college reaction video and I really on the outside I had such an underwhelming reaction, but on the inside I was like recovering from the adrenaline high for days. I was elated for weeks. I was so happy and I had started planning. This is where I'm gonna live. This is the food I'm gonna eat. This is what I'm gonna buy before I go. It's just, oh,
Oh
it
my
was a
gosh.
it was a lot of fun.
I have the same type of personality when I got into actually my high school, because you had to apply and really do all that type of like application. So it almost felt like a college type of application. So I was like, when I got in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm gonna do every day. I started looking at vlogs from people who went to my high school, and it's the excitement. And I love that. I feel the same way. And really, the University of Penn emphasizes multiple things, especially the importance of a diverse and inclusive community. How do you think that you're going to be bringing that side of community to Penn?
Well, I come from a very rural area. I surrounded by beautiful cornfields for miles. Um, and that's rural populations are very underrepresented in most of the Ivy Leagues, really. And that was obvious. It was obvious when I went to the admitted students day like a few weeks ago. I was very much in the minority. Not, I mean, I'm a white male, so I'm in the majority in that sense, but like I was in the regional minority. Like not a lot of people come from where I come from. So I'm really excited to like learn about other people and share like the experience of like what it's like to not grow up in a suburb, not grow up in a city, and how that's different from other people, and like glean a little bit from other people, like what it's like to grow up in those areas and in those different cultures as well.
And are you ready to go from cornfields to the city?
I'm so ready. I've wanted to live in a city for my whole life. I'm thrilled that I can live in Philadelphia.
Oh my goodness, you're getting your moment right now. And as you transition to really this college life that you're about to go through at UPenn, what aspect of your identity are you looking to really, or background, are you really looking to explore at your time there?
Um, so I mean, sort of like what I did with Future Problem Solvers, I really like to be involved in the community. But something I've not really gotten to do is social activism because there's not very many like groups that go out and protest for anything or like stand up for things like in the streets, like rallying. Like I would love to do a rally for something that I care about. That is something that I've wanted to do for a while. It's just not around here because it's just cornfields. So that's
And
something I'm really excited for.
yeah, and talking about that, speaking about challenges and societal challenges, what is one that you're passionate about that maybe you're excited to kind of maybe make a rally at UPenn or something that you can gather students who have the same cause?
This is actually something that I talked about in my application was something that I really care about is protecting the environment, environmentalism, green energy, um, and especially going into Wharton. There's a lot of accountability that needs to be held like by the businesses, by the big corporations, like the corporations. And I firmly stand by this opinion. Corporations should not just be out for themselves; they should also be out for the societal good. So getting businesses to be more green and be more helping the environment than they currently are. That's something that I would really like to get into.
Wow, that's really amazing. And we don't see really much environmental advocacy like in these days. So it's really great to see other people doing it. And also I wanted to ask you, what kind of impact are you really looking to make at UPenn during your time there? I mean, in the bigger picture.
Um, Really, and this is another thing that I talked about in my essays. Just getting people to understand each other, and if I can understand you, you can understand me. We can all understand each other. We can all get along, and if we can all get along, we can understand where each other are coming from, and we can help make the world a better place for everyone, not just ourselves.
Right. So building a community, right?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we're also trying to build here, a community of students. That's why we were so inspired by your path because it aligns a lot with our mission of building communities and making sure that, you know, students also have other students no matter the background or any of that. You know, I love that. It's a very similar mission. And looking back at your journey so far, what advice would you have given either your younger self or other students who are about to go through this process right now of applying to Ivy Leagues or just college in general?
Um, I've got two things here. I've got two big things. So the personal statement, like I talked about before, is huge. It is a huge part of your college applications. And really the best advice I have for you is you should have fun writing it. You should have fun writing your college essay. It should be something that you care about. Don't just take it as an opportunity to brag. Take it as an opportunity to share who you are, what you care about, and what makes you unique is really like one of the most important things. And that's just in general for all colleges. Now, something specific for Penn and the Ivy Leagues, um, so there are certain attributes that colleges care about by default. You have to have like a good SAT score, you have to have a good GPA, you should be involved in extracurriculars. But for certain schools, and I don't know how it is for all of them, but I know how it is for Penn, they look for something very specific in terms of what kind of person that you are. And if you're interested, if anyone's interested watching, go to the what Penn looks for page on the upenn.edu site, and it'll tell you exactly what they're looking for in their students. And what I did is I found a few of those things, and one of the reasons that I decided to go to Penn in the first place, they really like community service. They are very hot. They love community service. So I highlighted community service a lot in my application. And even for some of the dual degree programs, they have certain values that they really care about. So if you are looking to apply to college with a very specific goal of either which school or which program, find out what those schools and programs care about specifically, because there is something. Because Penn, when I went to admissions events for Penn, they were like always talking about building a class, building what they want to see a big picture of what the class looks like and how they mesh together. And they should all have the certain things of the values of the school in common.
Wow, that is really helpful advice, especially as somebody who is going to be applying to not only these schools, but college in general. And I didn't know that you were able to see exactly what they were looking for, which is such an amazing thing to know. And the fact that you are able to see, even if your goals align with the college themselves, not even if you're going to get in or not, just to see if you align with the college is so amazing to hear and to know. And so we also have Alexi here who's going to be asking you two other questions. So Alexi, you could go ahead.
Thank you, Lilia. So Isaiah, I guess I would like to reflect a little bit on your high school past, and specifically, you've mentioned that you are very into bringing change to the world, positive change. So the first question I have is, as the team captain of the Future Problem Solvers, what challenges have you faced, and how did you overcome them to promote the teamwork and accomplish your problem-solving goals?
So future problem solvers, for those who don't know, because it is kind of a niche thing, it's a group of, well, it's an international organization, and it's focused on community-based problem solving, and they talk a lot about agency and autonomy and their mission too. And what we do an aspect of future problem solvers, because there's different ways you can approach it, but what we do is community problem solving. So we are very, very active in the community every year, and every year we pick a new central project that we follow through with, and we go from concept to completion. We like, what is the area of concern? What are we addressing? What are the challenges? What is the underlying problem? And what is our plan of action? And then we follow through the plan of action. And by the end of the year, we have a final project of this is what we've completed. And it is a competition, and we go to compete with it. Actually, next week is the competition. We're going to go to, I think that's a university in Indiana. I don't remember which one it is. Anyway, it's a competition. We compete. Challenges that we faced that I've had to guide my team through. Last year's project was about the misconceptions that surround rural high schools, and how sometimes in the national teacher shortage that we're in, some places are affected more than others, and rural high schools are affected really, really badly. And it has a lot to do with the perception of just rural areas in general, and it also has to do specifically with us, with the perception of our high school. So we addressed that, and we had a whole, actually like this, we had a podcast of every week we brought in alumni of the school, we brought in community members. We were like, these are the advantages of a rural area, these are the advantages of our high school. This is what makes us, this is what puts us on the same level as everyone else. This is why you should work here. Not necessarily like a job pitch or anything, but this is like just helping people debunk the myths and the misconceptions that surround our high school and our community.
I see. And I guess the second question I have is on a larger scale. I see that you're also senior class president of the student council. Congratulations on that, first of all. And then I guess the question is, what projects or initiatives have you led to improve your student life and build a stronger sense of community in your school? because we have talked earlier that you have plans and desire to bring better initiatives to this world. So I guess what have you done in your school and how will that reflect in the future?
Um, well, first I'll start by saying a lot of the teachers at our school that have been here for many years, they've expressed to me that they have seen more school spirit and student involvement now than they even did before COVID, which I was really impressed with that as a statistic. But I think the reason for that is we've given a lot more choice to the students than I think has been present before. Like um, we have like spirit weeks where like you dress up like a certain whatever, like Hawaiian shirt day, whatever, like senior citizen day, etc. And for the first time this year, we have not this, no, for the first time last year and this year, we have given the choice of what we want those days to be to the students. And we've also given like, what do you want the songs on the playlist to be for the dances? Um, and what you want the senior trip to be. Basically, and I've helped this along a lot, like giving a lot more of a choice to students because ultimately, one of the things in my underclassmen years that I was really sort of uncomfortable with was like there were so many events going on for students that were like for the students, by the students, but it wasn't really by the students. It was like the staff picked like this is your prom theme,
I see.
these are your spirit days. So giving the students a lot more of a choice was a lot. I think that that is one of the main things that has built up our school spirit and our sense of community, really.
I see. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, both of you, Isaiah, your insight and your commitment that you are putting into not only high school, but also your upcoming college life is really impressive. And we are very excited to see what you are accomplishing at UPenn.